And hello and welcome to Arts and Entertainment. I'm Deborah Gilbert, your host, and as always, it's so great to have you here. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I hope that you enjoy the show. Well, I have the pleasure of having someone who's been here before many months ago, and she has been kind enough to say yes, that she would come back. Her name is Lynnie Godfrey, and she is the president of Godly Entertainment, Inc., artistic director of Essence of Acting, Inc., and also the president of the League of Professional Theater Women. So we'll get to talk about everything in her life, and she's very exciting to get to know. So I hope that you enjoy getting to know Lynnie Godfrey. And Lynnie, thanks so much for being here. Welcome back.
Thank you, and thank you so much for having me. Really, it's always a pleasure, Deborah. It really is. I was very excited to know that I was coming back. Thank you. And hello, Connecticut. Hello.
Yes, hello, Connecticut is right. Lynnie, what you may recall, you may not recall, is that I like to reintroduce the guest to the viewer. So why don't you take us back into your background? Let us get to know you.
All right. Well, I'm a native New Yorker, born and raised in New York City. I went to school, a private school called the Modern School, and then I went to a public high school, George Washington High School in Manhattan, where I became the one and only female president of the student body. Went on to go to Hampton University for a year and then came back to Hunter College. And at Hunter College, I studied with Lloyd Richards, who directed The Raisin in the Sun. And I studied directing and acting with Lloyd. About 2.5 years later, I was privileged to be on the Broadway stage in a musical called Eubie, the music of Eubie Blake. That played for about a year and a half. And then after that, I toured the country in different shows. One was Damn Yankees as Lola, and the Three Penny Opera as Jenna. Oh, so many wonderful things. And then the television bug got me. And I went out to Los Angeles and I appeared in several television shows that you might remember, Amen, LA Law. And then I was fortunate enough to be seen by the wonderful and genius Norman Lear. And he placed me to star with John Amos in the sequel to All in the Family called 704 Hauser, along with about 30, 40 guest shots. That was my television experience, along with appearing with Kathleen Turner in the Disney movie V.I. Warshawski, where I play her best friend. And then back to New York City, back to doing the theater, back to directing. I am the artistic director of an ensemble that I started about 10 years ago called the Essence of Acting, and we do things. I'm the CEO of Godly Entertainment, and we'll get to the things that we do there. And then I was so privileged to be recommended to join the League of Professional Theater Women in New York City, and we have a chapter here in Connecticut. And in 2 years later, I was asked to be VP of membership, and now a year and so later, I am president of it. So, Deborah, I think that catches you up.
And that's an amazing amount for people to take in. My goodness. Did you know, now you've got singing as well. Did you know when you were young that you wanted to be a performer?
Oh, yes. I sang with my mother, who was a singer. From the time when I was 3 years old, my mother and Joanne, a relative of mine, cousin, sister of mine, and we sang, and I always had this very deep voice. And for a little girl to have a deep voice, it was fascinating in the church. So I became a big ham, and at the age of 3, was singing all over the city in different churches. Oh yeah, I loved that whole feeling and thought I would be a teacher. I really went to college to study English and science, to be an English and science teacher. And it was in my speech class at Hampton University that my professor, Marjorie Moon, who for 43 years was the artistic director of the Billie Holiday Theater in Brooklyn, but before that she was teaching. She recognized that I had a good voice, speaking voice, and maybe I should audition for a play. I auditioned for a play called Sister Sunji by Sonia Sanchez, and the rest is history. I got the theater bug, and so theater and music have been joined for me ever since.
Well, you are a young woman, so you're talking about a long period of time that you've been involved in theater and music, but you did television as well. Did you think about other mediums that you would stay in, or was theater always your love?
Theater was always the pathway to other places. It was my foundation. It's what I always come back to. It's where I have my discipline, my stamina. It's like when I studied in Carnegie Hall with Dr. Chauncey Northern Sr. When you study classical music, you can then, because of the breath control, because of the exercises, you can do and attempt anything, any kind of music. And that's what theater did to me. And, I was fortunate. People would see my work and then say, oh, but you should try this television show and see an audition for it. And Reuben Cannon was one of the first casting directors that cast me in a show called Amen with the Sherman Hemsley and Anna Maria Horsford. And he said, oh, no, you should stay in Los Angeles. You'll work. I went to stay 3 months and I stayed 10 years. What do you know?
And then you came back to New York. Did you go to the city?
When I came back to East, my parents were getting ill, and so I took care of them until they passed away, and we were in New Jersey. And then my husband's job took me to Virginia for 10 years. So I performed at the Arena Stage, at the Kennedy Center, and things like that. And then when Exxon, he retired early, then he said, where do you want to go? I said, of course I want to come back Northeast. I'm a New York girl. So then I came back, but we live outside of New York City, and all of my work was in the outskirts of New York and in New York City after that. And I've been going back and forth all these years, having a great time. I've been back here now, I think almost 15 years.
I see. Well, you were doing a cabaret show the other day in New York City. Is cabaret
Yes.
a part of your life as well?
Absolutely. It is such a wonderful vehicle by which I can sing and tell the stories. So I combine the acting with the singing and with the technique of voice that I learned. And I hope that I convey in these songs that the importance is what the composer and the lyricist really meant the music to convey to the audience. And I am by far the vehicle by which it is, given to the audience. And it's the challenge of doing that. I love cabaret, the intimacy of it, the atmosphere, the creative atmosphere, and the audiences are always ready to come and learn something. So in my cabaret, I always have pieces of history that I say, well, do you know where this song started? Do you know who wrote this song? Do you know, and sometimes I give out little gifts if they do. So it's fun.
People will probably say, but Deborah, you missed the part about Broadway. Tell us about what Broadway was like for you.
Broadway is a whole nother world. It is theater magnified 100 times. You have audiences there who are very seasoned, and then you have audiences that are coming to the theater for the first time. It's 8 shows a week. It was an incredible challenge to get that stamina up. It's just a wonderful, wonderful community of people. The other performers from shows, when they have their night off, you think that they would rest. No, they'll come and watch you and support you. So it's a wonderful way to be introduced to that community of theater, and then you bring it to the outskirts of theater.
You also mentioned directing. Are you directing a lot these days, and has it been part of your life for a long period of time?
It started to be a part of my life when I met Lloyd Richards, and we were in Hunter College, and I studying acting with him. At the time, there weren't a lot of productions that featured a Black American woman, so we would work on a lot of monologues. And then Lloyd said to me, he said, if you do not see what you want to do or what you want to see in the theater, then create it. And you're in my directing class. So utilize that as a platform. And that's when I started at 19 years old, directing. Yeah.
Now, you and I have talked in the last interview about what do you like the best? You've performed, you've directed, you've done so many things. Is there any medium that you like the best?
No, I like whatever I'm doing. At the time, that's the best. I think I just love the arts. I love the opportunity that the arts allows you. That's why it's so important that we perpetuate it in our society. It allows you so many options if you have the talent for it. Some people do one thing. Some of us are hyphenated, as they call us now. We're multi-talented. But the arts allows you to go and visit some of the things that maybe you didn't do as well in one part of your life. And then you come back, and because of life experiences, because things have happened to you, you bring another level of sophistication, of creativity, and it allows you to grow. And I don't know in what other field that has been something that is afforded to you. It is absolutely wonderful to be an artist, to be able to go from the theater to a medium like this is television and online, social media, to go in the studios, go to television, to sit at a studio and maybe wait for an hour to two after you've been made up to do your one line or your one scene or, one scene for the day. It's an amazing, amazing feeling to be able to go from that, but utilizing all the things that ultimately, as I said earlier, I really got from studying in theater. The foundation that you bring to everything else starts there. But I don't love anyone any better than the other. I was transformed the other night at the cabaret to be in front of audiences that the repertoire included Christmas songs as well as the American Songbook. And everyone was right there with me. You could hear it. We were all breathing the same way. It was just lovely.
I'm Deborah Gilbert. You have been tuned in to Arts and Entertainment. We're going to take a break, and we'll be right back.
For decades, I've taught you everything I know. How to safely build a fire, and how to control the flames. But I can only teach wildfire prevention. Only you can prevent wildfires.
The holiday season is here, and so are scammers. Ready to trick unsuspecting shoppers with fake ads and too good to be true offers. Scammers are offering fake and deceptive beauty products, targeting viral trends, and pretending to sell gifts for loved ones. So look out for red flags like huge discounts, unfamiliar retailers, and requests for payment through payment apps. Better Business Bureau can help you protect yourself from online scams this holiday season. Learn more at bbb.org/scam studies.
And welcome back to Arts and Entertainment. I'm Deborah Gilbert, your host, and as always, thanks so much for being here. My conversation continues on with Lynnie Godfrey. And Lynnie, you have Godly Entertainment, Essence of Acting, and the League of Professional Theater Women. So why don't we take some time and talk about each one of these? What about Godly Entertainment? What is that all about?
Godly Entertainment was created by my husband and I as a production company about 20 years ago. And what we wanted to do was to be able to explore and help a lot of individuals and groups who were at a starting stage of their career and were trying to find out how to promote themselves, how to get themselves on the stage. And with my directing prowess and power, try to give them a focus on their productions. We have several clients that when they want their plays done, they come to us and ask us advice. It's not managerial, it's a production company, and we produce with them some of their plays. I am a client myself when we do the cabaret. It is one of the things that the company aids in promotion, along with visual arts, which was one of the other producers of the Cabaret Act the other night. And it is really wonderful and empowering to have your production company, because when you see a piece of work that you think should be done and no one else is recognizing it, you can approach that person, approach that artist, and then say, how can we work together to maybe at least get you to the first stage of having someone view your work. So that's where we are.
Okay, how about the essence of acting as artistic director? What are your responsibilities there?
Well, the responsibilities, it came from my just directing a reading of a play and having a wonderful company of actors, and then the actors turning to me and saying, so what are we going to do next? And that was 8. Then it turned up to be 15 and then 23, but we're down now to 11 continual actors and ensemble who we work on pieces of works that the playwrights present to us. They come to us and want us to do readings of it, and we have guest artists that come in, but it's an ensemble of around 11 actors. Some are from Broadway, television, film. A couple are from just coming out of college. So we have a range of actors that we have, and it came out of my not seeing enough of what I wanted, the quality of what I wanted to see live in the theater. So that's what we've been doing now for almost 10 years. Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. And I'm very honored. I'm a new member of the League of Professional Theater Women, the Connecticut chapter. Tell us what the League is all about and your job and responsibilities as the president.
Well, as president, it is my honor to serve the members of this organization, trying to make sure that we have visual effect on the theater community as well as the community at large. We are women who have joined this organization who are professional levels in the theater. There are those like you, Deborah, who are in front of the camera, who are very active in creating things. They're stage managers, they're directors, they're choreographers, they're producers. This organization was formed 42 years ago because women really needed an organization to advocate for their rights, to have a voice, to make sure that when we get hired for jobs, that we get paid equally or as close as it can be for those on counter who are men who are also working on the same jobs. And we try to do that. We try to be a conduit when people come to us and they have some issues. We try to show them where they can go. We are not the answers to everything, but we try to find the answers for you. Our website says that we honor all of the women who 40 some years ago started this organization. A lot of them have passed away, but it is truly what we do to try to find out what we can do to make women stronger in this community, to give them the strength to and encourage them to continue on in this very difficult theatrical community that is not based on women necessarily, but we're getting stronger and stronger, and also helping those organizations. We have a new program called Big Sister, where we are now helping a new company that is promoting playwrights and trying to give them advice as to how to maneuver and promote their programs and everything like that. We do that within our membership, and we do it at no cost. We have panels to help them and things like that. So it's a privilege to know, to be a part of this organization and to make sure as president that it continues past my administration, which will end in May, but beyond that we know that there's always going to be a need, and we always make sure that we are participating in supporting that need.
And what I don't want to forget to kind of move the gear here, if you will, is your website, LynnieGodfrey.com. What will the viewer find when they visit it?
Well, you'll find, I do a website, I do a podcast. I won't do it in the end of this year. We were doing it on Blog Talk Radio, but Blog Talk Radio is fading out. So you will still see episodes of over 100 episodes of a podcast called Lynnie Godfrey, Straight, No Chaser, and it does advocate for the arts, the importance of maintaining it and supporting the arts. You'll see a lot of my bio, the performances that we do. I try to keep you up with all of the events that I'm involved in. You'll see this, and the last episode that I was on, your program is on there also. So we try to maintain, so people, if they miss it one time, they can come to the website and get it. And on the website this weekend will be a link for the film version of the cabaret that I performed on Thursday night, December the 5th. And you'll be able to see that if you purchase the link as many times as you want in a 72-hour period this weekend, or purchase it for a gift, an early Christmas gift or something like that. So a lot of different things are on there. It's packed filled. Yes.
Now, you mentioned a podcast. Was that easy for you to get started?
You know, I questioned it at the very beginning. I got the opportunity because I was being interviewed on a podcast, and the producer said, you know, you really should try to do this on your own because you have a lot to say. And I said, oh, no, I couldn't possibly. But the invention of Blog Talk Radio allowed me to be able to learn very easily how to do it on my computer, on the telephone, interview over 100 people in the last 2.5 years through the pandemic and out of it. It was not difficult, but you do have to have some computer savvy, but it's not a hard thing. And then there's so many now programs and platforms that one can do that on. And it allows those of us who have a voice and have something positive to say, to be able to say it and reach the public. Yeah.
Now, you have a varied background, and probably I have many individuals that are performers, behind the scenes, directing, producing, you name it. Is there any kind of path that you would recommend for them as to how they can get started in the industry?
Well, if you are really interested in directing and producing, and that is behind the camera or behind the footlights, then I would say, first of all, that you go to a school for that may offer classes for that. Like NYU, the Tisch School is absolutely brilliant, all of those kinds of things. Take a year and study that, really audit those classes if you can't go to all of them full time, and then find someone in that whole experience that you would want to work with and see if they have an internship or if you can ghost them to find out what it really is like to really be a part of a production and all the responsibilities that comes with it, the time and the effort, the dedication, the discipline that you have to display, the art of negotiation with actors, knowing that you have to work with them and get the best out of them and knowing how to do that. So it's a journey to become really good at what it is. But if it is something, if instinctively that is what you want to do, you need to be able to follow and study. And then after that, there's no formula. It's about who you are meeting, what the circumstances are, and things like that.
Well, we are slowly beginning to start to run out of time. And my thoughts are, what are your closing thoughts for the viewers? Anything that you'd like to leave with them from our interview?
You know, I'd like to say thank you. Thank you because the opportunity for artists to come in before you to talk about what they do and some of how they do it. I want to thank you, Deborah, for being able to do that. Sometimes you, as an artist, you take it for granted because many people ask you to talk about it. But the opportunities are not afforded to everyone, and I've learned that over time. I know some very, very talented people who don't have the same opportunities that I've had. And I want to thank you for giving me that. And I want to ask you to continue to do it for all those artists who may be able to share with the audience some of how wonderful the arts are.
Well, I want to thank you very much for being here. You have done so much for the art community and for so many performers, and I want to thank you for all the good work that you do, and also because you're running the organization that I love. So thank you so much for being here.
You're welcome, and thank you, and welcome, welcome. So proud that you remember. I was so elated. Thank you for having me, and it's been wonderful. And I hope maybe to see you all live one day.
Okay,
All right.
great. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it. I'm Deborah Gilbert. You've been tuned in to Arts and Entertainment. In case you need to reach me, I'm at artsandentertainment@mail.com. Well, I hope you have a super day today. And as always, thanks so much for tuning in. I'll see you next time.